used to be a men's clothing store. So during the early to mid 20th century, this was where you get your tailored suits. So it was a popular store. When it shut down, it was used for a whole slew of other purposes, and nowadays I believe it's a home to a private club, but I'm not sure which one.
What's this stuff?
Here on the right, this is the Berkeley office building. So this office building opened as one of the first office buildings on the block up here on the right. The Berkeley's not a really tourist-friendly building though, so if you like to explore the Berkeley, let's turn off. Apologies. Can you all hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. It seems like we're just having some technical difficulties today. So the Berkeley, it's not the most tourist-friendly building though. So if you want to explore it, probably won't be the most pleasant experience unless you're like really into architecture. Speaking of architecture, here on the right, you'll see the slot here, which will be 350 Boston Street. They're currently laying the foundation of that building, so it won't be ready for at least several more years. If you come back here in about 10 years though, it should be completed by then. So there's going to be a lot of office, retail, and restaurant space in that building. And here on the left, this is where on the Boston Street side of the public garden, you'll see various statues. Some of the statues are blocked, but further down up ahead, you'll be able to have a better view of these statues. These statues honor both civic and military leaders, so if you'd like to take a look around later, you can check out these statues all in person. And here on the right, since it looks like we're gonna just have to wait a bit, this is the Four Seasons Hotel. Even though it doesn't look like an ultra luxury hotel, it is one of the most expensive hotels in the entire city, and that is why a lot of athletes like to stay here from various teams. So whenever visiting teams come to Boston, they like to stay at that hotel. We're once again at the sweet spot here, where you'll see Boston Public Garden on the left and Boston Common on the right. Boston Common is the oldest of the two parks, as it dates back to the 17th century, while Boston Public Garden only dates back to 1837. The Common used to be the main park in Boston because if you were at those gates 300 years ago, the street we are on and everything to the left of us would have been all water. So Boston Common was one of the first waterfront parks in what's now the United States. Nowadays, the Common is just the tip of the emerald necklace network of parks. So if you like to take a look around, it's a fun park, especially if you like gradients, as it's located at the base of Beacon Hill. Speaking of which, we're going to start our ascent up Beacon Hill. So you'll see on the left, these are your typical Beacon Hill row houses. So these row houses date back to the 18th and 19th century, and this was the go-to place originally for becoming young professionals. However, as the price of real estate skyrocketed, nowadays this is where you'll see the upper middle class individuals living out of these buildings, and some of them have been bought up by private entities to serve as their office space. And up ahead, you'll see on the left, there's a building with a red flag. That flag is for Northeastern University, so this is where the Northeastern University president works out of and resides. And up ahead, we're going to be coming to stop 9, which is the Kurt State House. Does anyone here wish to get off at stop number 9? Alright, so we're just gonna pull up here just to see if we have any passengers, and then we'll make our way back to stop number 1. And while we're here at the state, free men or they had long obtained their freedom after the Civil War. That said, that regiment did fight, like the film depicted, they did fight in those bloody battles to take back control of the forts in the Carolinas. So because of their bravery and their historical significance, that's why that monument was erected for them. It is alleged that one of the soldiers in that monument looks like Denzel Washington. I think it's just a random coincidence. And here, the State House, now we're at the rear of the State House, but the State House was first built in 1798, and it serves as the seat for the Massachusetts state government. Because there's a lot of entities in here, both chambers of the state legislature, the governor's council, and the offices for all the state legislators, and even some of the executive branch officers like the governor. This is known as the People's House due to everything being accessible by the people. This brutalist building that doesn't look like it belongs here on this block on the right, this building is the Inspector General's building. So this is where the Inspector General oversees all of the statewide agencies and the executive branch. Some of these state attorney general's departments are located in this building, and they also have the Office of Campaign and Political Finance headquartered here. That OCPF, they're responsible for overseeing all donations made to Massachusetts politicians. You'll see here on the left, these are your typical Beacon Hill row houses once again. On the right, these new builds are designed in the style of the 18th and 19th century row houses to honor the character of the neighborhood. And up ahead, you'll see in front of us, there's this short, stubby building. That short, stubby building, that's Boston City Hall. As I explained earlier, they built this after tearing down a huge section of the Scully Square neighborhood. The large brutalist design, though, has earned its fair share of critics. Some people like it, while others do not like the postmodernist design. I think it looks okay, but it's definitely overdue for a new coat of white paint. And here on the right, this modern building, though not at all brutal, this is the John F. Kennedy Federal Building. So this building is where the FBI and DEA would operate out of during the 80s and 90s. Nowadays, this building is home to most agencies, so it's also the home for Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Ed Markey. Here onto Congress Street. This garage is the Government Center garage. It's currently being demolished, so once it's demolished, it's going to become a new development. But it's been a mess since 2 workers have already been killed during the demolition process. Here on the left, you'll see there's the Boston Holocaust Memorial. This is to honor all the millions of people who died during the Holocaust. Behind it, you'll find some of the oldest restaurants, like the Bell and Hand, which dates back to 1795, and the Oyster Union Bar, which dates back to 1840. Here, this building on the left, this is Manual Hall. So 18th and all throughout the 19th century, that building was where you'd go to attend rallies and lectures, and they also would have plenty of places to shop inside. Nowadays, that building is mostly ceremonial, but they still use it to go shop. They still have it open to do shopping, and they also will occasionally have they'll occasionally have a political rally or something like a press conference held in that building. Old State House. So this was built in 1713. It was part of the colonial government. Then it became part of the state government in after independence. So that's where the State House used to be until they moved to their new location that you just saw a couple minutes ago. That's also stop number 4. So we're going to come back here to stop 4 and take a look. You're more than welcome to do so. As we continue down Congress Street, we're now entering the financial district. In the financial district, this is where you'll find the John McCormick Post Office and Courthouse. So this is where, during the 20th century, the federal courts would be here, and they also had a huge post office inside that building. That building was then, the federal courts later moved out of that building to their new building in the Seaport, and later on, the post office census used that building more as a processing facility than an actual post office. I think they still have a post office inside that building. Here with slits. That building is the Boston Federal Reserve. So this is one of the 13 branches of the Federal Reserve Bank here in the United States. In this building, they'll have the offices of for the economists who will take a look around the New England economy and report their findings to the main bank in Washington, D.C. You'll see there's the Boston Tea Party Museum. So this museum is to commemorate the original Boston Tea Party of 1773. The British taxed the colonies after the French and Indian War, also known as the 7 Years' War in Europe, to pay off the debts from that war. But the colonists weren't happy by the fact they were taxed without their consultation. So the British eventually decided to renege on a chunk of the taxes, but they kept a couple, including the one on tea. This upset groups like the Sons of Liberty, led by Samuel Adams, since in their view, the British, along with their increasingly over-interference in colonial affairs, they felt that this was ridiculous, and that group also hadn't forgotten about the Boston Massacre that occurred in 1770. So on the night of December 16th, 1773, the Sons of Liberty decided to stick it right at the British, so they disguised themselves as Native Americans, stormed the ships of the British East India Company, and dumped their tea into Boston Harbor, along with the fact that the fish tasted like none, and cracked down on Boston the following year with the Intolerable Acts, which regarded a permanent presence of British troops in Boston and made the Bostonians pay for those troops. This upset the rest of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, so as a result, the British decided that they could no longer trust the local militias outside of Boston, and in 1775, they were sought to seize their arms. Thankfully, a blacksmith by the name of Paul Revere and his friends were able to learn of this plot, and once they learned about what the British were going to do, Paul Revere went on his famous midnight ride, warning that the regulars, which is what they called the British troops back then, were coming. And thanks to his warning, the militias were all ready the following morning when the British arrived at Lexington and Concord. And that was where the shot that was heard around the world was fired. And the rest, as they say, is history. These are the buildings here at the Seaport. These buildings were mostly built during the 1890s and early 1900s. So these used to number one. So if you bought a single trip ticket, this will be the end of the line. Thank you so much for coming on board with us. If you have hop on, hop off, or you bought your single trip. Alright, mic check. Can you all hear me well? Okay. For those who just boarded, disclaimer that while the bus is moving, we have to require that you see it at all times. While the bus is moving, we are legally required to have you seated at all times. If we see that you're standing while the bus is moving, per state law and city regulations, we'll have to ask you to sit downstairs, so please be seated at all times while the bus is in motion. Right now, we're heading out of the seaport. In this area, this used to be a mostly industrial area, so our factories were located. And then on the left, where we're headed to, this is where you find the cargo piers. The factories began shutting down after World War II. When the shipping industry and the piers, which were never designed to handle containers, being incompatible with those ships. By the 70s and 80s, only about 20% of the seaport was operational, while the rest was an abandoned wasteland. So under Mayor Ray Flynn, he decided to revitalize the seaport. This meant infrastructure projects like the 10 William Tunnel that you see on the right, the Silver Line busway system, which opened in 2004, and the connector between the 10 Williams Tunnel and I-90, which opened in 2003. Thanks to these new infrastructure projects, the seaport was able to support all of these hotels, apartments, condos, restaurants, and other businesses. So nowadays, the seaport is our thriving high-scale district here in Boston. That being said, the seaport is still, there's still parts, oh, be careful on the left side of the bus, be careful on the left side of the bus. That said, the seaport is still a very important, the parts of the seaport that are still with us today from the original seaport. One of them is up here on the left. This is the Fish Pier. The Fish Pier opened in 1914, and during its nearly 110 years in operation, this pier would process the fish that would be brought in by the boats, and then that processed fish would get delivered to the local stores and restaurants. Even though the annual yield has declined due to overfishing, the was the Commonwealth Pier. So it opened in the early 1900s as the largest cargo pier in all of New England. The pier shut down during the 1970s when the shipping went down new life during the 1980s as our World Trade Center. Currently, the World Trade Center is going through a major refurbishment, so it will not reopen for another year or two. But when it does, it's going to be once again the most scenic World Trade Center in all of the United States. And right here, you'll see on the right up here, this is a beer garden. So this is where later this afternoon you can come by, get a nice drink, and listen to the live music. On the other side, these are the storefronts here on the seaport. Due to the astronomical cost, though, only the most luxurious brands or the largest multinational corporations operate out of these storefronts. And for their kids, I have from that whole scandal is that apparently you need a cheat to go to USC, which I think is funny because there's got to be at least 100 universities that are better than USC. As we cross this bridge, you'll see on the right there's another bridge. That bridge is the Northern Avenue Bridge. So it was in operation from 1908 to 1997 when the bridge that we're currently on opened for service. After it was completed, that bridge was used as a pedestrian bridge, but it's since been taken out of service due to major deterioration of the center span. From this area in the parking lot you'll see up ahead here on the right to create a major development. The proposals are that the development will be worth up to $250 million, which shows just how expensive the real estate tax will get. Up here on the right, you'll see there's Rose Wharf. Rose Wharf, heading to Hingham on weekdays, and they'll also have other boats, including a limited that March 25th as well. We're here at Milk Street, so we're going to turn in. You'll see in front of us, there's a New England Aquarium. The New England Aquarium has some really cool exhibits, so definitely check out the aquarium if you have the chance. And next to the aquarium here on the right, this is Long Wharf. So this is where you can catch the commuter boat heading to Charlestown to explore the U.S.'s Constitution. And they also will have harbor cruises and even a whale watch departing from this wharf. We're going to make one more turn here, and then we're going to arrive at stop number 3. Here at stop 3, we're going to wait here for about 5 to 10 minutes for a crew break, and then we'll be heading out to stop number 4 after